All right, so come on in, grab a spot. We got a nice full crowd here. We appreciate your patience, everyone. Again, we only get to hear from our friends at Lightware this one time in this space, although you can chat with them after or see them at their booth, which is right there. So it's easy to find, and we hope you'll avail yourselves of that after we get done. But right now, I guess we're close enough. We can probably kick things off officially. So nearly every Webex Room Solution Kit includes touch pen or Navigator touchscreen, right? The Lightware solution empowers the touchscreen by extending control to an extended numbers of inputs and outputs, and also common room elements like displays and lighting. Simple, consistent controls for the room are finally available for you on the Touch 10 and Navigator panels. And this means that with Lightware products, your users now can host meetings on laptops and also use the room device assets at the same time. So here to tell us more about it are Jason Torado and Steve Sampson from Lightware. So please help me welcome them now. Thanks, guys.
How's it going? I think you got to turn it on. Maybe, did you get to flip it on? There you go.
Check 1, 2.
All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Sampson with Lightware, and Jason.
I'm Jason Torado with Lightware. Happy to be here. Thanks for showing up today.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And here we are in the Collaboration Village, guys, and we're talking about AV integration in Webex Rooms, where you have Webex Room Kits. And as Paul said, we empower the Navigator touchscreens. We make it really easy. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll show you how we can do it and make it easy. To begin with, we're a solution partner. We're on the CCW. And a little bit about Lightware. We were founded 25 years ago. We're based in Europe. And we have a catalog full of products, so we're really a hardware manufacturer, but we have these great solutions on the UC side of the ledger that work beautifully with Webex. And something to know about here in Las Vegas is we really came from the live event industry. And if you've seen a Blue Man Group show this week, or if you've seen Cirque du Soleil, you saw Lightware. So Lightware is a big part of these productions, and that's where we really learn and make the new way of video together. And that really pays dividends here, too. And here on the corporate side, we have standards where room standards are really the new way of doing things. And as we see Webex as the real universal standard, we're empowering those solutions even more. And Jason, maybe this is a good time to talk about Memorial Sloan Kettering, how these really worked well. Good
so, you know, Steve Sampson and I both have backgrounds from Crestron and AMX. We spent about 20 years each between those two companies. And so when we came to Lightware, the first thing that really caught my eye was this open API. And when the Webex Room Kits opened up their integration capabilities, you know, about 3 or 4 years ago, what we saw was there's a whole install base of Touch 10s out there all over the world that now can do more than just make phone calls, right? It would be like if your iPhone was just making phone calls and that's it. Well, now you got a Touch 10 sitting in that room, but you can do more things with it, and that's what we really empower. And we do it in a simple, consistent way, so we get away from some of that complexity of the AMX and Crestron world. We had a situation where in Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York, they've got lots of buildings and campus that's all spread around, but the doctors have to consult with each other on particular cases. And so they said they were having trouble keeping up with the ability of those rooms to be simple. And so those doctors would come in and they get very angry, upset, or frustrated if they couldn't make the room work right away. And there were literally people, you know, who have cancer that needed help, you know, and need the doctors to be focused on what they're doing. And so they came to us and we went out, we showed them the Lightware kit, they started buying it, and now they become our customer over and over and over again. They just keep continuing to buy it because they're not dependent upon an AV integrator to come in and save their lives. They can do their own configuration, they can do their own installation, they're a technical end user, and for them, it's now simplified the whole experience for them to be able to have those doctors communicate with each other. And we were proud because, you know, when I talk to my mom, she doesn't know what I do still,
that's right,
but I always try to tell her, look, at least today, Mom, I was helping somebody cure cancer, you know, and it was finally true.
Yeah. Helping cure cancer. You couldn't do anything better than that. It's the most amazing thing. And so let me show you a little bit how this solution works and how easy it is to bring it together. And primarily, we empower the Webex systems by expanding the number of inputs, extending the connectivity, and empowering that touchscreen to control everything in the room. So as I play out this animation here, you'll see you have the typical room kit, which has a singular input. Now, sometimes you'll have something like a room PC or a wireless presenter that takes up that single input. So by adding one of our little switchers, you can now add more inputs and more sources and more switchers and more laptops. And so by using the Touch 10 or the Navigator, they work synonymously. You're able to go and share things and share sources and use that touchscreen natively in the room, which is what you would expect to do. But now you're able to switch sources, and when you come in and somebody plugs in a MacBook, it shows that it's available. So now you can share this device and it shows that it's there. You click that button, it now shares into the meeting and into the room. It's really that easy. So fundamentally, that's as simple as it is. You'll notice there's just one single serial cable, one communications cable that we added between the codec and the switcher, and that's it. No cloud connection required, no other processor. It's all right there, built right into the solution. So it's really easy and really lightweight. Jason?
Hey, Steve, I just want to jump in for a second because there's something that happened here with that USB-C cable. Now look, guys, I'm telling you, USB-C is the future. There are all these laptops that are coming out right now, and they don't have HDMI ports on them anymore. You have to specifically ask for an HDMI port if you want it, but they are coming with USB-C. And USB-C is a transport mechanism for audio, video, power, and data. And if you don't adopt it, you're going to be at a disadvantage because your customers are going to come in wanting that connection. And we have a native USB-C connectivity so that you can start bringing those laptops into the meetings.
That's right, Jason. We saw that years ago when laptops transitioned from analog to digital, and overnight we saw only HDMI connectors. It's happening again, so we need to be ready as these new devices walk into the room. It's coming. So moving ahead, guys, how do we do all this? We use this tool. It's online. We can show you at our booth right over there, and it creates a config file and a deployment guide. It couldn't be easier. You do this in a couple of minutes, and you have everything you need to load through, and everything on the touch screens is created in that single step. It's really amazing. We'll show you how to do it. And then also, we create all the buttons. So we use the typical, or the SDK within the API. So it works beautifully. It's not firmware based. You might have heard some of these where they break over time. This is guaranteed not to break. And this has been deployed for how long, Jason? 2 or 3 years now?
Yeah, we've been doing it at least 3 years. Yeah. We started on our own, although working with Cisco engineering. And Steve Sampson went to Oslo and brought some of our Lightware engineers to Oslo, worked with those folks to be able to make sure this thing worked. And now we've been embedded in Cisco as a Solutions Plus partner, so we're able to get pre-releases of code, pre-releases of hardware, and we're making sure that those things work before they get implemented in the configuration tool that he showed you.
Right, and guys, this gives us consistency. It gives you consistency, and your customers the same thing. So from office to office, building to building, city to city around the world, you'll have that same level of consistency, and you can control anything you'd like. So it doesn't matter if it's lighting, shades, waterfalls, but realistically these days, people just want the system to work. How many times have you guys seen 2 touchscreens side by side on the same table? A Cisco touchscreen and some other control touchscreen. We still see that all the time. It's very confusing, but this solves for that. Really good way to solve it. And then the other thing to know, guys, is there's no control processor. Like I said, open API. This is not a programming thing. We've seen situations where, Jason, your story about the guy with Mountain Dew, programming through the night. What happens when that guy disappears?
Yeah, so what happens? I had a guy from the South Carolina Supreme Court system call me and say, listen, I'm so tired of this AV contract. I've got this expensive maintenance contract. Every time I change one thing, these people come in and charge me hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. They sit in my room with a laptop and a Mountain Dew, and they stay there all night doing whatever kind of magic it is they do. And they charge me a lot of money for it. He was so angry. And so we were able to get him into the Lightware program. He's now been able to cut that contract. He's able to take care of himself and use the configuration tool. He doesn't have to rely on an expensive proprietary programming person to save his life.
Yep, this really makes it easy, guys. And as we go through it, you deploy at scale. And to make it even easier, these are bundles that are available on the Solutions Plus CCW portal as hardware as service terms for 3-year terms or 5-year terms. And what's really great about that is at the end of those terms, you'll have an opportunity to upgrade, to get the new version of software, to just maintain the existing platform, or maybe even transition to the new hardware. As Jason said, we have new USB-C things coming all the time. They're changing the game, and we want you guys to be right there where the action is as things evolve. The most popular category right now is camera share, but you'll see we have divisible rooms, and we make that easy to do, along with just adding a few sources, so we can scale this up or down to your room types and sizes. And by the way, guys, this is the most popular one. That's why Jason was pointing at it. And what people want to do is this. You want to walk into a Webex room. You want to have a Webex call with the Webex system, just like you normally would. But then what happens if somebody walks in the room with a GoToWebinar link and that you have to do a webinar? You don't want to crowd around this laptop to do that webinar. You want to use the front of the room camera, the mic, and the speakers. So that's what that allows you to do.
So this is, if you can follow the diagram, I'll just kind of explain how this is working. Think of this as a fixed shared asset, right? It's a camera, mic, and speakers, and a display. Everyone who walks in the room should be able to use those fixed shared assets. And so what we're doing is we're taking that HDMI connection, we're taking it into a USB capture device like Megwell or Energy, and we're turning that into a USB signal. That USB signal terminates at our box, and then I'm sending that to whichever source device comes in. And now it's just a USB camera to this laptop. So you don't have to crowd around that little laptop in the lid. You use that camera, that mic, that speakers, that display, but you can choose whatever platform is on your laptop to run the meeting. It's a hardware solution to a software problem.
That's right, Jason. So this really gives you universal coverage. We listed the most popular ones, but we see with our West Coast-based customers here in the United States, many of them are using Google Hangouts because they're funded by Google money. So you can't always predict which invite you're going to get based on which customer you're talking to. But this really does to make it really simple and make it universal across the board. And the secret is we're doing USB host switching right on our hardware that comes in the kit. And now let's talk a little bit about BYOD functionality. That's really the way of the day, and we've been talking about it, but let's talk about the next generation. We talked about that lid cam and not crowding around, walking into the room, having a natural experience. No matter which device you have, you can use the room like it was intended to be used. But what are the things we're seeing in the rooms now, guys? We're seeing a codec or a NUC maybe, a dedicated thing. We're seeing BYOD devices for sure. Those devices are coming into every room every day now. We have cameras and mics. It might be in the bar. It might be a ceiling array, a really serious biamp system or similar. It might be a speakerphone on the table. It could be, you might have keyboard and mice that you want to manage, wireless presenters. All of these things now are other devices that we want to manage in the room beyond just the audio-video signals. So that's where Lightware's video switching comes in. And we have a new category called Taurus UCX that we've developed. We're ahead of the industry by a wide margin. And this brings in USB-C, as Jason said. This is what we need to accommodate. And it brings it in the Swiss Army knife of a product, the multi-tool. It brings everything together in one place. And we have 4 products in the lineup now, more coming. These have been shipping for more than a year. They're in stock. We have inventory. We have chips. And so it's a new category with new availability. We also have, this is just a close-up view, but you can see there are lots of inputs and outputs, 3 Ethernet jacks, and go ahead, Jason.
Let me take you through just sort of what's going on here, because I know it's a black box, but sometimes it helps if somebody could just kind of walk you through what you're seeing here. So I'm going to start over here on the input side. So here's a USB-C input. That cable is going to be on the table. Here's another USB-C cable. That cable is going to be on the table. What am I doing? I'm taking advantage of that cable to send power, get video from the device, get audio from the device, and get Ethernet from the device into my box. Well, once I'm sending it power and I've got my video, I'm sending that video output to one of 2 displays. It's going out as an HDMI signal down here. If I want to, I can take the audio output of that embedded stream and send it to an external DSP or maybe an amplified speaker in the room. I've also got the ability to do some control. Maybe I want to turn a couple of things on or off with those 232 ports. I've got an occupancy sensor integration, so if somebody walks in and the aux sensor goes high, I can turn on the displays in the room, I can switch to the correct input. I've got GPIOs, which are general purpose input outputs. Those are just like things to turn stuff on, shades, drapes, they just need a little relay to go high or low. And those are part of the system. We've also got an Ethernet switch built in, because you might want to route that USB-C Ethernet layer to a particular place. And you can either disable that or you can enable that. That's part of your configuration choices. Over here, if you don't have USB-C, maybe you've got USB-B and an HDMI cable on your laptop, you connect those right here. So this 4 input, 2 output device will handle audio, video, control, USB, and power.
Great, thank you, Jason. This new category, Taurus UCX, we see as Lightware's future. It really is the engine that is going to drive our company, and we're growing dramatically. We're growing by 600% over the next 5 years, and we couldn't be more excited. This product is what's getting us there. And it really is the future. And there will be line extension. You'll see extended versions of this where there are 2 parts with a single piece of Cat6 between the 2. So you go from the table to the front of the room and extend that USB-C functionality and not worry about it. So we're making all those things easy, and we really are ahead of the curve by a wide margin. And then you'll see these Cisco rooms. They don't dwell on this diagram too long, but the hybrid room like we talked about where Cisco's at the heart and it brings it all together. And with that, just a little bit of summary, but we did want to invite you guys to join our Ask Lightware space. We have a dialogue happening here all the time. Use your camera just to capture that code. Come by our booth. We'll have it on our display. But we have ongoing every day. We're talking about new things, about USB-C. You guys might know or might not know that USB-C cables are not all the same. The USB-C cable you get to charge your phone will not pass video. And those cables have little chips and things in them. And our technology will allow you to understand if you have a good cable or a bad cable. And Jason, maybe just a minute about the open diagnostics and one of the things that makes us Crestron Lightware really special in that way.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, Steve and I have a background in control systems. And the thing that really I fell in love with, and I think Steve fell in love with about Lightware, was this openness, this open architecture. So we have an open documented API that you can reference, and you can either subscribe to a node or get some information if you want. We've got built-in diagnostics and built-in analytics. The diagnostics, I'll give you a real life example that happened to me. I have a Taurus that I use every day at my desk because I bring in my laptop and I have a monitor, and I've got a USB camera and a wireless keyboard and mouse. And so every day I walk in and I plug in that USB-C, and now I have 2 monitors and a single keyboard and mouse. One morning I plugged in my USB-C cable to my laptop like I do every morning, and I got no video on the display. And I had done nothing different than I had done every single day before. So I opened up the diagnostic tool on my Lightware, and I looked to see, was there any video going to the display? And there was not. Then I looked at the input side, and on the input side, there was no video being sent over that cable. And so I knew that the troubleshooting had to do with my laptop. Something had happened with my laptop. And I called my technical director, and he said, hey, did Windows push an update last night? And I said, yeah, they do it all the time. And he goes, well, look on Google. They probably disabled video over USB-C when they did that. And sure enough, he was right. So using those diagnostics, I was not in a world of hurt trying to do things that weren't productive. I was able to go right to where the problem was, and I was able to diagnose it with a little bit of help. Those kinds of things are what people are looking for, and they really want in this world. People are getting used to doing self-service, right? And the more you can give them the information, the better it is for them.
That's right. Thank you, Jason. And guys, you know, Lightware lives by one simple rule, and it's very appropriate here in Las Vegas. The show must go on, and we really do build our products with that level of reliability, because sometimes you only have a few moments or minutes to fix a problem before the show goes on. And it's not always the show or the production. Sometimes it's the event, the meeting, the CEO is there and everybody's there, and it needs to happen, and there are no excuses. And when you look at Lightware, you can know that we come from that place of reliability. We'll be there to support you, and please come by and learn some more. We'd love to work with every one of you. And thank you for the time today. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.